He's the horror hunter from Down Under. He will go in search every week of the best and worst in horror movies throughout the month of October. His mission? Don't come back until he's found some of the best and worst putrid piles of horror goodness you could ever imagine. Horror Hunter from Down Under back at you with another movie. This time around we're going to be looking at the miniseries Stephen King's It. Now last month Aaron Talks did a review about the new version of Stephen King's It that was in cinemas. This time around, let's talk about that 1990 TV movie, shall we? Now if you're familiar with TV of the time period, then the stars of this movie are not going to be any shock to you. You got John Boy Walton, you got Jack Tripper, and you got Harry Anderson, the judge from Night Court. So, how's this movie hold up after all this time? Honestly, not very well. I'm going to be honest with you, the only thing that's remotely entertaining about the entire film is any time Tim Curry is on screen. That said, the first half of the miniseries is actually quite a lot better than the second half of the miniseries. I'm hoping the same won't be able to be said about the new feature film that will probably be coming our way in a couple of years, which will be Stephen King's It Part 2 on the big screen, which will be essentially the second half of this miniseries, which, you know, by all accounts everyone would say probably sucks. I know I do. So, that said, let's talk about why Tim Curry's performance is so good. The first thing to think about is, well, clowns are scary. I know Aaron's got a fear of them, so does the Horror Hunter. The Horror Hunter has a massive fear of clowns. If you were to show me a picture of a scary clown, I'd probably freak out. Warn me the next time one of those is coming up, shall you? Okay, that said, the Horror Hunter hates clowns. A lot. So, what does that say about this miniseries? Well, I'll tell you exactly what it says about this miniseries. It's effective as hell. I personally think that Tim Curry's Pennywise the Clown might rival Bill Skarsgård from the new film. That said, I think Bill did a phenomenal job for this new film. But Tim Curry, that's the image that's going to haunt the Horror Hunter's brain from now until eternity. They all float down here, mate. They all float down here. So, his performance. He manages to ride the line between creepy and annoying. And I know that sounds strange, but think about it. Scenes like this.
Hi, Georgie. Aren't you going to say hello? Oh, come on, bucko. Don't you want a balloon?
I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers. My dad said so.
Very wise of your dad, Georgie. Very wise indeed. I, Georgie, am Pennywise the Dancing Clown. You are Georgie. So now we know each other. Correct?
I guess so. I gotta go.
Go? Without this?
My goat!
Exactly. Go on, kiddo. Take it. Oh. You want it, don't you, Georgie? Oh, of course you do. And there's cotton candy and rides and all sorts of surprises down here. And balloons, too. All colors.
Do they float?
Oh, yes. They float, Georgie. They float. And when you're down here with me, you float too!
That's both creepy and annoying. I don't care who you are. I think it's creepy and annoying, and I think that it works on those two levels. I think that can be said about the majority of his performance in this thing. That said though, there's more to take in than just his performance. While Pennywise and Tim Curry's performance as Pennywise is amazing in the film, let's talk about these child actors. Now, there's really no one to write home about here except for two people. The late, great Jonathan Brandis, who plays young Bill, and of course, Seth Green as the young Richie. Now, Seth Green, of course, you probably know from Austin Powers, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and of course his own show, Robot Chicken, as well as many others, including the voice of Chris Griffin on Family Guy. If you're not familiar immediately with who Jonathan Brandis is, well, here's a brief look at his filmography. You might know at least one of these three, I'm hoping. If you don't, oh well. He unfortunately killed himself in the early 2000s. Well, you know, I hate to even bring up such a touchy subject. I really do. So let's not dwell on that. Instead, let's just talk about how good their performances are here. Being that Bill is our main character, he has to sort of pull us into his story. Now, that's not to say that to some degree, all of these characters, the Lucky Seven, if you will, the Losers Club, whatever you want to call them, they're all kind of central characters. That said though, Bill for the most part is our POV character. So, Bill has to draw you in. And young Jonathan Brandis had great charisma and charm in this film. That's why he was selected, I believe, to play young Bill. Why they chose John Boyle Walton to play him as an adult is beyond me. Because, well, not really the biggest fan of that actor. Sorry. Wholesome is not the horror hunter's favourite thing in the world. So, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about young Seth Green, shall we? Now, he's playing young Richie. Richie as an adult is played by Harry Anderson. The two of them sort of do a really nice counterbalance, at least in my mind. But the reason I particularly like Seth Green in this role is because he demonstrates a lot of what makes him charming to begin with. He's a really good actor. I really think he's really funny and really good in pretty much anything I've ever seen him. That said though, the reason he works here is the same reason Bill works here. He's young, he's talented, and he just oozes charm and charisma. The same could actually be said about his counterpart as an adult, Harry Anderson. The reason I'm not really talking a lot about the adult cast is because, well, I don't really want to cover that part of the movie, but I suppose we kind of have to get into that, don't we? The reason the adults in this film don't work nearly as well as the children in this film is because the children, you tend to buy their fear more when Pennywise is on screen than you do with the adults, at least in my opinion. Now, for a second there, you might have heard me sounding a little bit American. That's because the more I watch these American horror movies, the more American I become. You think about it? So, why is Stephen King's It a good watch or a bad watch? Well, it's sort of a mixed bag. In fact, in my opinion, it falls right in the middle of a 5-star rating scale on like a 2.5. And the reason I say that is because the first half is pretty dang good. Plus you've got an amazing performance by Tim Curry as Pennywise. The second half, very lackluster, as I was stating before. So, should you watch the miniseries or should you just stick to the new movie? Well, that's really up to you. But if you're a fan of the book by Stephen King, as I am, well then, I would definitely recommend both. Watch the miniseries, watch the new movie, but definitely read the book if you haven't. So, I've been the Horror Hunter, and I'll see you guys next time. But don't forget to click that subscribe icon, that bell icon, so you can be notified every time the Horror Hunter has a new video uploaded. And of course, I'll see you guys later.